Welcome to this episode of Truth Seekers, where His Grace, Bishop Emilianos of Maloa, will answer questions sent in by the youth with a member of the youth.
Hello Anthony, thanks for coming back, and I have another question for you. So the question is, why does my prayer rule feel dry sometimes, and what can I do to grow in my spiritual life? What do you think?
If I could address the second part of the question first, I think progressing with your spiritual life, it may come across as a little bit of a cop-out answer, but I do think that that's best addressed by your spiritual father. It's really something that you'd have to ask that person, only because what's progression for one person could be regression for another person. So it's so personal that I think your spiritual guide is really the only one that can answer that for you. In fact, if you try and answer it yourself, you could very much get it wrong, or you're really too close to it to be able to answer that. But going back to the spiritual dryness, I think off the bat, it's probably appropriate to say that I think almost everyone would go through that at some point in their spiritual journey. And I think that it's necessary. I don't think that you can have God's grace permanently, because if you were to have that, you're less likely to progress. So perhaps sometimes you might lose a little bit of that grace, and there's a hill before you. And you've got to climb the hill, you've got to go through the dryness and the difficulty for your benefit, because you come out stronger. I think that those things come to mind. So I don't necessarily think it's a negative thing. I think it's part of the journey, perhaps. But you're probably better placed to answer that yet other than myself.
Okay, firstly, I totally agree with everything you said, and it was very well put. It's just one word that I wanted to maybe look into a little bit more. The question says, why does my prayer rule feel dry? The word feel. When it comes to feelings, Emilianos used to say that we shouldn't pay attention to feelings. And this might mean a lot of things, but feelings are very subjective. So I might feel something now, but this is how I feel. Someone else in my shoes would have felt something different maybe. And the thing is that I feel the way I feel only because my mindset is put together in a certain way. If I was to change my mindset, this feeling might disappear. And we see that someone goes to their spiritual father and they might be sad. They have a certain feeling, and then once they talk to their spiritual father, they live happy. The feeling was reversed. So we shouldn't pay attention to feelings, but we should only focus on God. Sometimes the feelings, they are like, it's not exactly the waves, although they can be the waves, but they are also like strong wings and winds and things that they fly around us and they distract us and they make us focus on them, and we lose our focus from God. And this is very dangerous. So let's say that I pray and I have a feeling of, I don't know, even people that they do meditation, they might have a euphoric feeling at some point. If they focus on that, they just this is a spiritual hedonism. So this is not something to focus on. What we should be focusing on is God, and God will give us the right feelings that we need. But we don't focus on the feelings, and we need to be in charge of our feelings. If we're not in charge of our feelings, we will be having all sort of different destinations in our lives, missing out the main point of our life, which is God. So if I try to follow the feelings that they make me happy, I might as well go down the path of taking drugs because they make me feel good. But this is destroying my health. This is destroying my brain. This is destroying my chance of becoming one with God, because my intellect, which later on can connect me with God, is destroyed. And of course, God can still save us, but I will suffer in this life. So, if I may suggest, it might be wise to not pay so much attention to feelings. And sometimes when our prayer looks dry, it might just be that we can't see the fruit. But when the plant grows, it's not time to see fruit. It's time for the plant to grow. And part of the plant growing is growing roots. And when the roots grow, you don't even see the plant growing. It's all underground. But if you don't have such roots, when the fruit time comes, if a wind blows, you will lose your fruit. So everything has its purpose. But I guess we need to be in charge of our feelings and not let them be in charge of us. So regardless of how we feel, we talk to our spiritual father, as you said, and we do what he says, and this dryness eventually will go away. And then when the time of growth comes, we will grow. When the time for fruit comes, we will have fruit. And then that's about it. We will look back and we will be happy that we didn't pay too much attention to our feelings. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I fully agree that focusing on your feelings can lead you astray. I feel that the precursor to that, what comes first, are your thoughts, which, putting it in this context, might be you sit down to say your daily prayers or whatever it might be, and you're thinking about, oh look, I'm a bit tired, or tomorrow at work I've got this on, or I forgot to do this task. And those thoughts lead you into feelings of dryness, because exactly what you said, you're focused on these worldly material tasks and things and not at all on God. So I completely agree that the focal point, if your focus is on God and not the feelings, you're much better placed. But I feel also that if you can control your thoughts, or at least try to, that'll set you up and put you in a good position to be able to focus on God in that moment.
Yes. So part of the nipsis, part of the vigilance, the awareness that we need to have in our life, is also ignoring our feelings. Ignoring the thoughts, but ignoring the feelings. If you ignore the thoughts, you most likely won't go through a lot of weird feelings. So you're right. Thank you very much for coming here today, Adon.
Pleasure, Yana.
I have this hole inside my heart, and it tore me all apart, and my soul is lost. All hope it could ever be whole again. So I scream, someone help me become somebody that I can bear to see, step back and be.